A story of adventure, passion, creativity, freedom, teamwork, people, places, progression. This is a series where my goal is to bring back all the things that are missing from Minecraft content. The storytelling, the genuineness, the things that make us care about a world, and the things that make me genuinely excited to make videos. And it seems the 20 plus other people in this world agree. This is the Better Basics SMP, and welcome to episode 1. Since this is episode 1, my story begins gathered around a campfire with some of my closest friends. I just want to say, welcome everyone to Better Basics Season 2. I've been having the best time recently, like chatting with all you guys in VC and all that, so you guys are flipping out. So I'm like really excited to see like what we can bring in Season 2. Good luck everybody. Gotta go down to the village. I already said that I want to bring back storytelling and everything that truly matters to me. The thing is, what does that look like in a video? Well, to me, that looks like 10 out of 10 builds. That looks like friendships. That looks like everything in a TV show in a video. Sometimes I'll even be writing lore for my builds, and even characters. And so, while I'm having the best time making these videos, I really hope you're having the best time watching them. And enjoy. Since the server started about a minute ago, I found myself just collecting the basic requirements and, of course, interacting with the other players on the server. Not before long though, one of the members, Oki, found me just sitting in the open, mining coal by myself. I guess she felt sorry for me or something because she decided to come over and say hello.
Oh, hey, halfway.
Whoa, whoa. Hey.
Thought I saw a name tag.
After a bit of laggy conversation, we began to venture into the nearby cave in search for iron. We needed it for many things, but mostly just to help us survive until we got better armor or tools. You name it.
Alright, my setting hopefully be better.
No. It's fine. We can try.
We can, talk through of Dan.
Oki and I didn't realize it at the time, but we were facing a new problem. With the cave being so deep underground, we had no way of getting any extra food. This left just 3 bread between the both of us, making the trip a lot harder than it needed to be. Okay, get over here. And then we can boat down, because I got a boat somehow.
Ooh.
I actually don't know how.
Back. There.
I don't know how we're gonna get back. Whoa!
That's okay.
We almost went too far. Okay, yeah, there's iron everywhere.
Oh, yeah, right. Iron.
Ow!
That's
Major. Somehow, during our time down here, we had managed to lose one another. Where are you? Now that Oki and I had ventured deep into the cave, there was no turning back now, despite some of the residents encouraging us to. Instead, we made the most of it, spending the next hour just searching, picking away at any valuables we could find exposed to the dense air of these caves. I ventured deeper into the caves where the more valuable items were hidden from any plain view. And Oki, well, she found herself in a harder situation than me. The time we had spent down there luckily wasn't all a waste. Oki and I had achieved our goal of getting enough iron for armor and tools, though it wasn't all fun and games. By the time I came back, oh my god, there she was, staring at her own grave. It seemed the mining trip took a toll on us. For the rest of our time down there, all we were trying to do was escape. To finally get out of that place. Luckily for us, the iron we had mined earlier saved us. We had enough to make a bucket, and after what felt like an eternity, we were finally able to escape that cave. It was a new day on the Better Basics server. Me and Oki had enough iron to last us a while, and plans were changing. Last night, while we were fighting for our lives, some of the other members were forming groups. One of the notable ones was the Seven
look
Pigs.
at us.
Guys, we need 4 more people. We'll be the 7 pigs.
Look at
you guys want to become the 7 pigs with us?
A group of people worshipping the long-lost pig man. So one day he would return and bring joy to their lives once more. Another very similar group was forming in the east.
What if we... Okay, this is what a gang name should be. This is what our gang name is going to be, right?
Okay.
We're going to be called the Pig Boys.
the Pig Boys.
Remember when I said our plans were changing? Well, I meant it. Oki and I had begun a quest and completed it.
I actually lost halfway.
Oh, never mind.
We were to go our separate ways now. I hope we go on a quest some other time, though. With this goodbye, something else came into my vision. The surrounding area was quite lacking in natural food, and I was paying the price for it. See, I was on the brink of starvation. Thinking about all my options, what I could do for food, I looked to the river. See, the river had many fish in it, and though fish aren't very good raw, when they're cooked, they're quite nourishable. The resources that would be required in the future would be paper, leather, and a sustainable source of food, so I don't have to keep going back to the river in order to not starve. So as I filled my belly with the last salmon I could fit, I began to gather some resources and eventually find my starting base location. But in the meantime, some of the other members were currently finding their base location.
Oh, hey guys.
Oh,
What the heck?
Frost, that's
Oh,
really
he died.
ominous. Why would you do that?
Halfway. I need to show you the place I was talking about because it's gorgeous.
Where are you talking?
I might, because I found a better place on the way back here. I gotta,
Yo, do you guys need iron?
I think I'm good. Taking a knife for that. It's basically just this direction. Yeah, down here. Come up to me. Just take a look at this.
No way.
It's not a bad area, right?
That does look really good. But me? Well, I was still on the search for mine. But after a few hours of looking, I did eventually manage to find something that I really liked. The place I found was actually an island meadow, just north of spawn. The problem with it was separated from the other parts of the land by a steep cliffside and a river, and was shown to be a major obstruction to me in the future. But enough about that. Time to get real for a second. Since before the server even began, I was planning my first base. Now, I really love image hunting on Pinterest. I've probably spent over 50 hours in total looking for new ideas and builds that really spark my interests. Most of the time, I'll find images that remind me of the story I'm writing or the next big thing I really want to build in Minecraft. But the other day, something really strange happened. I stumbled across an image that just made me pause. Just like stop and stare. Like for a moment, nothing around me mattered. The maker of this called it My Little World. And to me, this meant everything. So if you didn't know already, I wanted to recreate something similar to this in Minecraft, because to me, this image represents much more than just a house on a floating island, but somehow, perfection in its entirety. But you know, all I had at this point was an idea with no building materials, no plan or sketch, and almost no idea where to start. Lucky for me though, I did know I wanted this floating island house to have looked like it had come out of the ground. So I began to dig. Eventually I made a small hole in the ground that, in my opinion, was passable for this build. In the days where all this was going on, I did set up what I wanted to be a temporary base, which included all the basic workstations and storage systems, and even a zombie villager. But yet, still no plan. Which brings me to the next part of my story. Over the coming days, I'll admit, I was lost. I ended up starting a farm, making a pond, fishing, not getting anything good from fishing, having friends visit me, visiting my friends, and almost dying before I dedicated an entire real-life day to designing and building my first base on the server. And since I'm no builder, I'm actually incredibly proud of the design. With my plan complete, it was then time to move on to the build. Plus, I have written a little story for you guys to give this build a little history. In this part of the world, adventurers outnumber any kind of civilization nearby. They scour the land for knowledge, items, coin. But besides all that, places. The once said lost crater was supposed to hold riches and wealth beyond what any adventurer could comprehend, in the form of a single magic item. Turns out it was just a wives' tale, a hangover from the ancient times when the god shard was found at the very bottom of the largest crater on the planet. Said to have been one of the most powerful magical items in recorded history. And I guess word gets around. A little over a decade ago, since the common folk realized anyone could become an adventurer, a little thing began. People nowadays refer to it as the adventurer boom. Good for some, ghastly for the ignorant. Since then, many new buildings and small structures have been built to house and support the ever-growing number of nomads in the region. Some, in fact many, are lodges and inns where adventurers and travelers can stay as long as they please. But few, very few, are lone structures built in search of peace and quiet. And there was good reason for it. Remember the 7 pigs, or the pig boys? Well, they weren't the first hog folk to have settled in the area. In fact, it was 15 years prior when the first recorded hog folk was spotted, and they've been pillaging and stealing from these newcomers ever since. One man in particular, in fact, a writer actually, had been there before the hog folk even arrived. Positioned in the middle of an island meadow, separated from the land by a steep cliffside and a river, an old wooden building stood sturdy, with a now mossy stone roof and path leading to the large front entrance. The stories of this writer pointed towards the fact that he was a well-off man. well known in the nearby towns and settlements, mostly for his thrilling and intriguing novels that he wrote. After about 20 years of peace, traveling back and forth between settlements to sell his books, the raids began. See, the writer was forced to abandon his last home. They are passive in a sense, never destroying buildings or houses, but instead stealing every item they can get their hands on, no matter its worth. He had read about these pig people before, and even included them in some of his own tales, writing about a mysterious woman that turned them into pigs, though he didn't know how accurate his stories were. 1 year later, and things were worse than they had ever been for the writer. The raids were more frequent than ever, often having valuable work or stories destroyed in the process. Growing tired of this, the writer rode his horse to the nearby location of a crater he had previously discovered. Naturally disguised as a mountain, it lay undiscovered for centuries, hidden by the cherry trees that sprouted after the impact of the meteor. He knew where to go to. In the middle of this crater lay something untouched by weather or nature. A glowing object. Using what he knew about this, he sprinted back home on his steed, finally stepping into his house for security, as usual. Now, the writer actually knew what this object could be, and that it had potential, but nothing more. All he truly wanted was to protect his home and work from these hogfolk. So, as he gripped the object tighter and tighter, it began to glow with more and more intensity. Yet it grew cooler in his hands, until it felt like it was ice. Instantly, the writer's house began to rumble, bathing him in the echo of ambiguity. He was consumed with thoughts of unknowingness and what was to come next. Thoughts interrupted by silence, closely followed by a gentle breeze and the smell of 1,000 years. Gazing outside, he began to realize the house he had built so long ago wasn't held down by rocks and earth anymore, but instead was holding up earth and rocks of its own. The writer, shocked back into reality, went straight to his writing desk, recording as much of this as he could before anything else changed, leaving the magical shard on his desk beside him. A day or two of bliss followed, for the hogfolk couldn't terrorize him or his house anymore. The thing was, he had wished for something entirely unsustainable, as he was running out of food and water quickly. The writer knew there was no way of getting down alive, and therefore was trapped. So he began to write a new story, like the one just experienced, but in his usual fantasy style. Through the days, he knew his time was fading. He could almost hear the ticking of a clock with every stroke laid on his page. Time influencing every sentence, every decision. 4 days had passed, and his story was coming along well. As he was writing about what he had just experienced, he caught up to the very moment in time in which his pen had lifted off the page. Clocks ticking slowly turned into knocking, soon to be beating. Death was lingering, waiting for the writer's story to end. It won't be long now. He knew this. He gripped his pencil, trying not to look at it. For the pain of acceptance was far greater than any physical pain he was in. His hand shook, lowering it down onto the page. But yet his pen was sturdy on the paper. As a final goodbye and end to his story, he wrote one last message to the world. Find my work and I shall be honored. Preserve it and I shall live 1,000 years. It's my little world. A few weeks ago, I actually managed to stumble across this very building. I guess it was a happy accident because I was on my way to the village in the crater. I've never been able to find a way up there though. I wonder what's keeping it up there.